while doing that, being a first-generation Nigerian, it was very impossible to convince my parents that I could make a career out of being an actor, so I actually ended up working, that's when I started working in marketing, and was client relations manager for a marketing company that was based out of Austria. And then from there, I became a business developer for a couple of small businesses. And then I burned myself out because I was literally working full-time and performing and producing shows. So then moved to New York, or moved back to Houston, Texas, where I became an artistic director of a theater, where I still got to use my marketing skills and my performance skills, which then led me to working for Fizz Word of Mouth Marketing. They found me as I don't know, a goofy guy who didn't mind wearing a superhero outfit and teaching people about the flu virus. And I did that for 4 months, and then they loved my work, and they decided to give me the Chicago market and manage the market for this pharmaceutical device company. And I had a lot of fun doing that, and I worked with a number of other clients, which leads me to where we are today, which is Burrow, which is a direct-to-consumer couch company that has been around for about 3 years. It's an American-made couch company that is manufactured in North Carolina, where a lot of American furniture is produced, and the company is based out of New York City. So that's the fun gist of what I do and where I came from, but I kind of wanted to actually talk about word of mouth. What is word of mouth? Essentially, word of mouth it's the oldest marketing tool that has ever been around. Not the oldest profession, of course. I do know a thing or two about that one, but it is the oldest marketing tool, and that is, if you have something that's awesome and your client likes it, they're likely going to go and tell that story. Am I right?
That's right.
Nod on that, yeah. So how does Fizz come about saying, hey, we're going to make a business based on word of mouth? Well, they found a way to make it repeatable, they found a way to make it applicable, and they found a way to make it measurable. One of those ways is, one of the things that Paloma and I do, we keep track of how many people we talk to, what type of events we go to, what type of people are just interested in just having a conversation with us. And one of the things that Ted Wright, the CEO of the company, had discovered was there are certain people in this world called influencers. We live in a social media world right now where it's like, oh, influential marketing, you gotta find the most influential. Where's Kim Kardashian at? We gotta find her. No, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about a certain type of people. There are 1 in 10 people that like new things. They like to be the first one on the block that knows about a certain thing. They love to tell stories to their friends and family and people and members of their community. And then third, they also love being intrinsically motivated to tell a story. They like the passion. They like passionate stories so they can go ahead and tell those stories to other people. So what Paloma and I do, we try to find ways to bring these couches out just to events, to places, what I like to go to places where people. So I want to ask you guys something to think about. It's like, where do people? You know, we're all networking here. We know a thing or two about telling our stories and interacting with one another, but what are some outside of the box ways that you can go and tell your company's story in the world, in the city of Chicago? You help solve problems when it comes to finances and everything like that. What are other ways that you could go out there and maybe meet people that might help you tell your story? They might not be your customer, but they might not be a partner either, but just an individual person that would be able to like, man, I like you. You know what? I'm going to help tell your story. And that's what Paloma and I do. Perfect example. Yesterday we were at the Pilsen Fest, which was a story in and of itself of how we got there. But yesterday I'm actually just hanging out on the couch, and the guy goes, man, these couches are comfortable. I'm like, yeah, they are. Didn't really talk about Burrow too much at the beginning of the conversation. I actually just wanted to know who that guy was and see what was relevant to him. Turns out this guy was a street artist who works in the corporate world and has been looking for a way to exit and pivot into selling his art on the street. And so he does 2 to 3 days a week, and he goes, man, I go to the beach and sell my art on the beach. I'm like, whoa, we bring our couches to the beach. Can we partner up sometime? He's like, really?
That's
I'm
awesome.
like, yeah. It was like, that'd be fun. He's like, that's awesome. Guess what? I know a bunch of skateboarders who skateboard over couches, and they would love this. I was like,
That's
oh
awesome.
my God, that's great.
Yeah, right.
All of a sudden, I'm finding relevancy for this one guy in that very now moment, just to be able to realize that it might not be right now that I need to sell this product. In fact, he's not the person I want to sell the product to. I just want to tell that story authentically through the day, without forcing it down anybody's throat.
Exactly.
Because at the end of the day, they will sell the product. They are going to sell the product. You know your friend who's out there just like, oh my God, you won't believe, I just got this new phone thing. It has pictures on it and icons.
Right,
and like, dude, we don't need that phone. It's not going to be, that's not going to be useful. Next thing you know, everybody here has a cell phone in their hand where they're clicking on icons for no reason other than they're bored, right?
That's right.
It started with one person who was just like, oh, this is interesting. I think this is going to change the world. So I asked you, when you're going out there every day, you're having dinner with your family and friends, take note, who's out there who just tells stories just because they love to tell stories? I think I'm missing another note that I wanted to share with you guys, which is, oh yeah, so what makes a good word-of-mouth campaign? What makes those influencers be interested in you? One of those things is you want to make sure they're relevant. I mentioned this before, but you want to make sure that it's relevant in a way that that individual will be able to run and tell that, right? So you want to know everything about your company, everything about your brand, everything about your story. That way, when that one person comes to you and they give you a little nugget, you can take that nugget and match it with your story. Just a little piece. You don't have to tell them the whole thing. Just a little piece that makes you relevant to them. All right. Next thing, you want to make your story talkable. Like I gave that example before. We're just sitting on a couch. This guy is talking about he's an artist who sells his art in front of the John Hancock building. Paloma and I a couple weeks ago got kicked out of the John Hancock building because we set up the couches there. And
they frown upon that a little?
Yeah, a little bit. No big deal. You know, what is it? You ask for, don't ask for permission. Do before you ask for permission. The dog crosses the street and then a thing happens that, or whatever. Anyways, so it was relevant to him, and that's how we had that opportunity to connect. And now he literally emailed me last night. He's like, oh my God, I'm excited to do this. Even off of that note, on a personal brand, I love talking about consciousness and God and all those type of things. I actually ended up having a great conversation with this guy about consciousness, God, psychedelics, and politics. And now he's actually told his friend about me, and he's invited me to be on a podcast the next day, just by being authentic with him, just by telling my true self to him. We got to share on that level. And the last thing is what I just shared just now is authenticity. What makes you authentic? You know, we all have our sales pitches. We all have the things that we know every note, everything like that. But if you actually stop and think about it, isn't that the type of stuff that's just going to make people yawn? Right? What makes it authentic to you? Why do you love it? Why are you passionate in what you do? Right? Because that's what people are going to latch onto. How has that changed your life or someone, your loved one in your life's life? Right? Because if you share an authentic moment with somebody, they have no choice but to be there with you and help you out. Right? So yeah, that's really what I wanted to share with you guys, what it means to be a word-of-mouth marketer, what Paloma had a lot of questions like, how do you make any money? Where are the sales numbers and all this stuff? Fact of the matter is, it works. Word of mouth works. It just does. And if you follow these little notes that I gave, these tips that I gave, it will do a lot for you. Perfect example, when you gave a speech a couple of weeks ago, you didn't talk about funerals and this and the other. You shared a super authentic story with us about wills. about living wills and sharing a truth about you on paper that will touch your family members' lives. And I will hold on to that. In fact, I tell people about it all the time now, not all the time, but through time. And what made it impactful was it was truly authentic. It truly came from your heart. And I still appreciate what you did. So I just want to leave those notes with you. And if anybody has any more questions, please just ask me after.
Hey, Jared, what's a good referral for you, and how can we get in touch with you? Do you want to hold up your book too, so we can get a good marketing?
A great referral. So y'all can all go to fizzcorp.com if y'all want to find out more information. Y'all can also email me or Ted Wright, ted@fizzcorp.com. I'm sure y'all can get a free book from Ted to actually learn a little bit more about how to measure your investments in word of mouth, how to track it, how to tell more relevant stories. There's all sorts of case studies from PBR, who was our first client back in 2000. We were the first company to identify the word hipster. It's the reason why PBR and hipsters go hand in hand is because of Ted Wright. Ted Wright actually worked with Delta Airlines when they were Delta, who was competing with AirTran, who came in and kind of was disrupting the whole industry. But what they did with Delta was made more authentic stories by getting their employees to put placards in their yards. So when people went and bought plane tickets, they knew that they were affecting their neighbor by keeping their neighbors employed and everything like that, by making those stories relevant to the people in your life. So it's a great book, great case studies, and all that good stuff. A great referral for me in Paloma would be anyone. Anyone who's throwing events, anyone who throws parties, anyone who's showing homes or this, any other. What we would like to do is just bring these couches to out-of-the-box situations. Like we said, we were just at Pilsen Fest. We've done birthday parties. We've done, we show up at John Hancock Building. We're at the beaches. We've done the Loyola. We've done the Loyola stop where we actually bring a TV and video games, and we're just playing, and people just stop by. This one guy literally saw us playing the Atari and was like, "Oh yeah, I used to play that all the time." Literally sat down on the couch. We told him about the couch for about 30 seconds. When it was my turn to play the video game, he's just sitting there, and people were walking by. The dude gets up and starts talking about the couches. For us. We didn't even have to do anything. He did it for us. Why? Because he was intrinsically motivated, because he felt like he was part of the team. So I just wanted to leave that you guys with you.
Hey, Jared, one last thing. We're on Facebook Live. Could we get a up shot of your Facebook real quick?
Oh, yeah.
You got some people watching there, and that should be...
Cool.
All right. There you go.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for your time. I really appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Jared. Proud.
And one more time for Jerry, please.
All right. Thanks, Jared.
All right. Okay.